Hey,
Hello.
we're talking about Civilization today.
We are.
All of Civilization, or maybe just the game series.
Okay. That does narrow it down a little.
Are
Make
we
it a little
doing
more approachable?
a food heist or no food heist today?
I have a food heist, so I'm going to save it for a later episode.
Okay.
Because I know we're going to have a lot to talk about on this one. So I'll save it for one where we're a little thin.
So I played Civilization 1 for the first time. I think I may have shared this story before. In a college dorm, freshman year. A friend of mine had it on his computer, and I didn't have a computer that could run games. I was working on this old $200, which was expensive, or which was cheap back then for computers.
Mm-hmm.
Now it'd just be like, oh, $200 computer, that's just a Chromebook. That's great.
Yeah, that'll run it.
But no, this was an old piece of junk that couldn't run Windows.
But it could run Civ 1.
No, mine couldn't.
Oh,
mine
okay.
couldn't run anything. Mine could run DOS, and you had to save to disk. There was no hard drive.
Okay.
Right? That's the computer that I had, which was like 8 years old or something. Like it was a very old, very non-new.
Did you have any boot discs for other games?
Like no.
Other little...
No, like
nothing.
Seriously, my computer, like it might have been able to run Zork, right? Like it was so old that the monitor was not it was like the green monitor.
Okay.
Right? Like it was so old that like it could barely run WordPerfect like 1.0 or whatever. It exists so that I could write papers on it. And I mostly wrote stories.
Okay, cool.
But my friend had a real computer with Windows, which, Windows 95 by that point, I think it was, because it was 1994. And you released those things early.
So the brand new Windows.
The brand new, not even 3.1. And it had Civilization 1 on it.
Nice.
And he's like, you should try this game. It sounds like something you would like. And I sat down to play it. And then
woke up a week later.
It was morning, and classes were starting. Yeah, like I had that the first time, that experience where I'm like, oh wow, and I'm in. It's like Helaman Halls, which are just like they're closets. So he's like, I'm gonna go to bed. You can play the video game. I know you're a night owl, and so he's asleep. His roommate's asleep in the beds next, to the table, and I'm just like. 7 hours time warp playing this game, and that's like I wasn't able to then play it again because I didn't want to do that to him, just be the guy that was always in his room on his computer, right? And so I played like that one game, and then as soon as I got a computer, after I got back from my mission, I got Civilization, which was like up to 3 at that point, because it'd been a few years. Maybe it was 2.
2 was the first one I played. I never played 1.
Did Donald just leave?
He did.
Donald just left. I was going to ask Donald to look up our release dates.
We should start paying him.
Yeah, I know.
So I never played 1. It was the very first one. What was like a weird thing that 1 did that they fixed later?
Boy, it's been a long time. And I only played 1 just those few times.
Yeah.
Did 2 have the palace?
I don't remember a palace.
So 1 had, as you hit milestones, you got to choose pieces of a palace. It was like a giant throne room. And you'd be like, I want the Greek pillars, and I want this carpet. And it would show you your throne room and how good you were doing and stuff like that, which was a whole lot of fun.
Oh, that's cool. I don't remember that.
We
said we were going to pay Donald, and he came back.
I'm Donald.
Will you look up the release dates of the Civ games for us?
I would be happy to.
Yeah. So you played Civ 2.
I played Civ 2, which would have been also college.
Okay.
I'm 1 year behind you. And so I remember playing it. It must have been on Ben's computer.
Ben always had nice computers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The main one I remember playing on his computer in college was a Mech Warrior game.
Okay.
And of course, Warcraft.
Yeah, that was the Warcraft 1 era where the orcs and the humans both had the exact same units, and they were all just reskins of each other.
Yeah.
It's what made the humans more powerful. I do have those when you are ready.
The humans weren't more powerful in 1, right? Were they?
It depends. When it comes to, like, I remember the healer and the human side was considerably better for humans. But
Are you sure in Warcraft 1? I only played it briefly, but I was
Warcraft
understanding
1
that they were only sprite changes. There were no mechanical changes.
No, there were, because
Okay.
the orcs didn't have a healer. They had like a necromancer
Oh,
thing.
okay.
It was
that
all
was
spell-based.
one. Okay.
So
Yeah.
Okay. Then you're absolutely right.
that was my thing. But
I have played one thing because I remember the necromancer.
Yeah.
But anyway, what's our release dates of the Civ games?
so Civ 1 is in 1991.
Okay.
Civ 2 is 96.
Okay.
Okay.
Civ 3 is 01.
Civ 2 being 96.
Yeah.
Does it say what time of year 96?
February 29th.
Yeah, so it must have been right before I went on my mission then.
Mm-hmm. And I got back in 97. And so I get back and I buy, it would have been Civ 2? It would have been Civ 2 by then. So I guess I did play Civ 2. And those two are very blended in my mind.
Yeah.
But I played them all. I never played Alpha Centauri,
Neither did I.
which is one of the best, I'm told. And I missed out on Alpha Centauri. That was during an era where I was very focused on writing my books. And it was good that I did not
Unlike
play.
now.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I wasn't freshman year or, I guess as soon as I got back, I kind of jumped into that. But it really took off during that era that we were going to cons and things like that. When was Alpha Centauri?
That would be 99.
Yeah.
99.
So that's the time. So it was until Civ 4 that I got back into a Civ game.
Yeah, Civ 4 is the one I remember the most.
Civ 4 is the culmination of 1 through 4, right? Like, you don't need to go back and play Civ 1. You can just play 4 because 4 is 1, 2, and 3, just all the best parts, refined and specialized and made excellent.
Yeah.
As long as you get, it's like Beyond the Sword or whatever it is, you just need the expansion, but I'm sure it just comes with it now.
Probably. I remember Civ 4 had the culture bomb.
Yes, first culture bombs.
Where you could take over huge chunks of neighboring
first?
cities and things.
Anyway, I remember culture bombing a lot in 4, which was really fun.
Yeah.
I actually 5 and 6 both have culture bombs. 7 does not.
They
appear
have
to
them, but
yet.
it doesn't work the same way.
Okay.
Like in 4, you could literally just set this off, and I think it was a great person or something. I can't remember what they called it, but you could have it trigger right on the border of two cities that were touching, and it would just take over a bunch of hexes of the other city.
Yeah, 6 has culture bombs as well. 5 does also. Though what happened is 4 is like 1 through 4 are refinements. They're like how you get a different version. You get a different version of Madden or something like this. And it feels like with 4, they're like, we've done this really well.
Yeah.
And so they changed the formula a ton for 5. And a lot of people don't like 5 for that reason. A lot of the purists are like, 4 is the game. And there's really no arguing with that because 4 is the best version
of those early ones.
Of what 1 was.
Absolutely.
But 5 is where they're like, we're going from a square to a hex grid. And I really like the hex grid.
I like the hex grid. 5 is also when they started letting you not stack your units.
Yep. Which leads to much more interesting battle, but the computer it's the first time where the computer just can't play the game anymore. At least not on the caliber that a human can play.
Yeah, because their pathfinding for their units is weird.
Yep, and pathfinding is just hard, right? Like a computer cannot, as I understand, computer science people tell me, but computers can't look to the future. That's not what a computer does. It can compute with the information it has. When an AI large language model is writing, it's not computing thinking of what the last word in the sentence is going to be, like a human might, or what the idea is going to convey. It just looks for the next most likely word, and it puts it there. Likewise, with their pathfinding, they have to say, this is the path to this spot, and then they start moving, and they have to then recalculate. And so what this leads to is, let's say there's a narrow neck that between two parts, there's mountains, blocking the way. A human will see that a scout moves in front of that from someone. They'll be like, all right, next turn, it will move out of the way and I can pass. The computer looks at that and says, this is no longer a viable route. It can't anticipate the scout moving. So it then calculates a route going all the way back around, and you will catch the computer doing things like it'll move its unit forward to the scout and then calculate and start backward. Then the scout moves, and it'll calculate forward again, back through that, and then something else moves there, and it'll just bounce back and forth for 5 turns and just can't get a piece where it's supposed to be.
And you can use that strategically.
Yes.
If you want to cheese the AI.
Yeah. So but the combat got so much more interesting, even with the AI being bad, because suddenly you could have a front line and a back line, and there's flanks. And in original Civ, there's not flanks, there's not a front line and a back line. There are giant stacks of units that smash into each other, and the stronger one usually wins.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was a lot less tactics going on. Grand strategy, but no tactics.
Yes, exactly. Strategy and no tactics, and then they added tactics. And this really worked for me. 5 really worked for me. I think I have double the hours in 5 that I have in 4. Even though I really like 4. I think for me what had happened is the formula had gotten a little stale, even though 4 is the best version of that. I'd now been playing that game for, did 4 come out? It was like right after I got married, so it was like
05.
Yeah, right before I got married. Oh, that's right, because Micah and I went in, my friend Micah, Captain Demo, and bought it together because neither of us had a ton of money back then. And so we each chipped in like $30, and he got it for a year, and then I got it after. And so, and
you didn't trade off like week by week?
No, it was just like I knew I was working on a book or something. I by then I already had my schedule. I'm like, I know when I'll be able to play a video game, and I'll pencil that in. And then he gave me the discs when I got married. He's like, here, I've played this to death. It's yours now. We went on it together, and I took the discs, and then I played it.
That's amazing. That's such a college student thing. I love it.
I mean, a true college student thing would just be to just pirate it, but
yeah,
we both have kind of an by then a powerful desire to protect other people's copyrights because we both
you're both artists. Yeah.
So
cool.
So then that's when I played 4, but then 5 came out, and wow, yeah, 5 was my jam for a while.
Do you prefer 5 to 6?
I don't.
Okay.
6 came out, and I like 6 even more.
I agree. It was, as with 1 through 4, 6 was a refinement of 5.
Yeah, 6 was a very, and it added this city planning aspect that I didn't know I'd been missing. For those who don't know, in previous Civ games, you would click on a building, and it would be built in your city somewhere. And so you just have a queue of all the things the city is building.
Yeah.
And sometimes they would reflect in, like, if you zoomed in on the city center and things like that, but there was really, again, no tactics to it. There was only strategy. Build these numbers of things. Suddenly, with 6, they said, oh, well, instead of building everything in just this one hex, that's the city, you build these little districts, and where you place them
matters a lot.
Matters a ton. And if you can find places to put your cities where they'll have good districts, you can then, be like, this will be the perfect spot for this type of city. And then I put this district here and this one next to it, and suddenly they really pop off with these bonuses. And that got the side of me that really likes to build, like outlines. Suddenly, Civ added a whole outline manager to its strategic and tactical side. And I think I have double in 6 what I had in 5.
Wow.
And that's quite a lot of hours for me, where I don't have as much time to play video games as a lot of people do.
Yeah, I don't plan my cities as tightly as I assume you do.
I do so much planning. Like my first 100 turns in the game, or 50, is just like me scouting the map and building these perfect, intricate, interlocking cities. And then the next is executing on that and getting really annoyed if someone builds something that encroaches on my perfect metropolis of interlocking cities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do Whenever in 6 I find like a box canyon, like a bunch of mountains in a circle, I'm like, oh, that's where the university goes.
Where the university goes.
It's where the science district goes.
Unless you're doing work ethic. Do you ever do that? So work ethic is one of the beliefs you can have in your religion, which gives you production equal to your faith adjacency. And so you can plop a holy side in that instead of getting, usually +6 science is way better than +6 faith. But +6 faith +6 production is better than +6. And then you plop on the things that double adjacencies, and you've got 12 in that spot of each, because it'll double your production if you double the faith. And then there are other things you can boost it, and you can get these cities that are getting like 20 faith, 20 production. And then there's people, great people that'll make that produce science also, just for that one. It's so much fun to be like, build the perfect district that just is this amazing powerhouse.
Can do everything.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do in 6 is to build the Colosseum, Natural Wonder.
Yeah.
Because I usually don't build any kind of happiness districts at all.
Okay.
Because if I can get the Colosseum in just the right place, it covers
like
a good
an
4
entire
cities.
Continent.
Yeah. And I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. So much fun to have all that placement. Have you ever done the New World thing? You can do it in both 5 and 6.
Describe it. What is
what
it?
you do is in 5, you in either one of them, you pick one of the Polynesian cultures. They can sail the ocean before no one else can.
Okay.
And you pick the map. This is basically cooking your start, right? It makes it super easy, but it's fun once in a while. You pick the map that has the New World that has no civilizations on it, just city-states.
Okay.
And then you leave the giant continent full of people warring with each other. You sail across the ocean and you find the New World, and you just
fill it up.
Fill it up before anyone else can get there, because it'll take them until often the Renaissance era before they can cross the ocean. So you have like half the game with all this land to yourself to explore and build however you want. Sometimes if you're bored with Civ 5 or 6 and you aren't at the highest difficulties, you can pick a difficulty that would normally be very hard for you and do this and have a different style of game.
That sounds fun. Did you ever play Beyond Earth?
I did play Beyond
between
Earth.
5 and 6.
Yes. I liked Beyond Earth, but it wasn't enough of a refinement of 5 for me. And so I found that I didn't love it because it played a little too much like 5.
Yeah. No, I agree. One thing that I have always wanted Civ to do is divorce itself from Earth history.
Yeah.
And let me pretend like this is something else. And there are other games that do this.
Yes.
I don't like Endless Legend.
You don't like Endless Legend?
I don't like Endless Legend.
What didn't you like about it? I'm just curious.
I don't know. It just is boring to me.
Really?
I can never get very far into it.
Wow.
I keep trying because I think it's such a cool idea.
Yeah.
But
I don't have
never
as
holds
much
my attention
in that as I do in the Civ games, but I found Endless Legend to be delightful.
Yeah.
Just enough new. The thing I like about that is each of what they do, Civ tries to pretend that all the civilizations are balanced. They aren't really, but they try to make them all play basically the same game, except for a few broken ones. Like, you get the Maori and you sail across the ocean.
Yeah.
Endless Legend makes no such pretenses. It says, this is a single-player game. We're not trying to balance. And so everyone's mechanics are wildly different from one another. And it's like picking a new culture and a new species you're playing a different game. And that's a lot of fun to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I say I should give it another try. I've given it
You've given it several tries. It's not your thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's all sorts of weird, fun stuff you can do. And the modding community for these games is so much fun, right? Like
I was playing 6 with so many mods by the end.
Yeah. What were your favorite ones?
There's one that added dinosaurs instead of barbarians.
I like the dinosaur mod.
That was fun.
Yep.
I don't really go into the mods that give you a lot of extra bookkeeping.
Okay.
Because I don't pay as much attention to that. I play Civ because I want to garden a civilization throughout history without really focusing on difficulty.
Right. Well, you should sail the ocean then. You should play as the Maori and just head across the ocean and have your pristine lands. They've got a map.
But I like interacting with the other civilizations.
Oh, but you still can because you can cross the ocean still. So you can go. You can have like I've done it where you have a little outpost that is like one city that you're defending very heavily on, and then you've got the whole other continent. That one's fun. But
now this brings up the question: what is your preferred victory condition? Because I am weird about Civ in that I really don't like the combat.
Okay.
I will never go for a military victory. If I want to play a fighting game, I'll play like StarCraft or something.
I actually agree with you to an extent. I like the combat, but micromanaging other people's cities that aren't part of my perfect network is really annoying to me.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And
every time you conquer one, then you have to
integrate it in.
My turns are longer now.
Yeah.
I got to build stuff in this one.
And eventually, if I have too many cities, I lose engagement with it because there's too much to manage. And so I don't like it when I have to conquer them, but I am good enough at the game. This is one of the games I'm very good at, right? I'm good enough at the game that at any point past about like turn 25, I could just conquer the world easily. Right? Because you know how to work the pieces and things like that. So it's much more fun to me to do I would usually do the science victory.
Science victory.
I like the cultural victory the most, but it gets too micromanagey at the end. And usually I'm just like, I do not want to do the rock band dance. This game, I'm just going to build my satellites and my and launch them, my spaceports and launch them, and I'm not going to go do that dance.
Culture was always my favorite way to go in 4. 5 and 6, I never really loved the late game. Once it gets into like information age.
5 and 6 had a big late game problem.
And it's just every turn
cities.
You're like, well, I need to build a radio station in every single city. And I need to make sure I have this in every single city. And it's just, it's not fun anymore. It's just clicking buttons.
And because 4 didn't have the extra tactical complexity that we really love, the late game didn't get information overload for you in the same way. So you, by the end, even in like 5 and 6, you're often like, I have to build this in every city. I don't care where the placement is. And all this meticulous stuff you've done at the beginning, by the end, you're just, done with. And this is because it doesn't really matter anymore because you're already so far ahead and things like this. And this is, I guess, a nice segue to why they built Civ 7 the way that they did. That's seems like this prime problem they're trying to fix is to make the late game more fun.
Yeah, and really what they've done, which I actually really like, is they've split the game into 3 ages, and each game has mini games in it. Each age has mini games in it. And so victory is not how can I get so much tourism by building the same building 500 times. It is how am I going to what is the end game culture one? I can't remember now. You're trying to.
I've only done it once.
It was the first one I did, and I've done a few since.
Well,
then.
I've only finished one game.
Yeah, you have never gone back to it after that first game.
No, I played. So here, I played one game through the ancient era and said, okay, I know how to do that now. And I played a second game through the ancient era. Or what do they call it? Classical?
I think it's ancient, age of antiquity, age of exploration, and modern age.
And I played through, and I figured out how to win that, right? So I played a second game, and then I played Age of Exploration. I'm like, okay, now I understand these mechanics. I started over, did that, and then I did a third game where I guess so. I've done Modern Age twice. Right, but I've only won once because I stopped mid game. Like I understand Modern Age now, and I did that, and just I was on deity already, and I just trounced it,
beat everyone,
and so I like Civ 7 in philosophy, in like on paper,
yeah,
but I was I was bored with it after, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 games.
4 games. That's about what I've played of it.
By game 4, I'm like, well, there's no challenge. And I don't feel like I'm building a civilization and shepherding it anymore. So I don't bond to it. So the game mechanics become much more relevant to me. And so being able to beat the game so easily when the game mechanics are front and center, because I no longer feel like I'm the Polynesian culture sailing the ocean and building a pristine society by themselves and warding off then all explorers or whatever else it would be that I was doing. I didn't have that bond to it, and I just have never felt an impulse to even pick it up again.
Really?
Which is very strange to me.
That is strange. I do think that is the big trade-off of splitting into 3 ages, is that you don't get that continuity. It's still the same cities you're managing, but you end up with different powers. I think that in part is their answer to the unbalanced civs before, because you look at Civ 6 and you look at like France, for example, that is clearly designed for late game.
Yep.
Whereas something like Greece is designed for early game.
And this is a really good idea.
Yeah.
Like I think the idea of you have an early game Civ that has all early game bonuses, a mid game Civ that has all mid game and a late game. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I think the idea of, all right, there's a soft reset at each of these and there's new game mechanics to learn is a good idea. I still found it boring after the first few games. And I think part of it is like in Civ 5 and 6, you're like, I'm getting this great person to compose this great work of art. And then they would cut to Sean Bean in 6 and he would read to you part of whatever book has been composed. And you're like, my civilization just wrote Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
And this, it's a codex that has no text, that is just a number on a board that you click the button, you get a codex, and you try to count them up, and they're all going to vanish at the next stage. You're not building some cool library full of interesting text. You are making this number go up, and you have to hit this exact number of them before the age ends. And so that it's weird because I normally like gaminess, and it just thinking about doing that again feels like homework, not like a game to me. And I'm just not interested in the least bit in going to do it.
Yeah. Plus, they got the most boring narrator they could possibly find.
Oh, I don't think I think that they didn't use her to her fullest. I think Gwendolyn Christie could be.
Is that Gwendolyn Christie?
Yeah, that's Gwendolyn Christie. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She's really good in a lot of things.
She is really good in a lot of things. I'm surprised at how dull her readings are.
Something about, like, they only gave her short lines. And they didn't, like, Sean Bean just put so much character into
so
these
much personality into it.
And for whoever was audio directing, like, she's very good, but this is a failure, or it's a miss in this. She doesn't get to say much, and what she says, she reads kind of flat. There was nobody there to kind of encourage her how this would work, and I agree with you. The narrative for 6 is just a huge selling point. And that's 4, 5, and 6 altogether, right? Because 4 had...
4 and 5 were Leonard Nimoy.
4 and 5? I don't think 5 was Leonard Nimoy. I think only 4 was Leonard Nimoy.
I swear 5 was still...
Really?
I'm checking as we speak.
Could have been.
And then Sean Bean was innovation in 6. Because Nimoy had passed away.
Yeah. I swear it wasn't, but boy.
It was William Morgan Shepard.
Oh, dang it. Okay, fine.
But he did a very good job too. And Nimoy's are just classic. They're just and so there's that. I don't know what it is. I can't call it a disappointment because a lot of people are really liking it. And I know a lot of people hated 5 and 6, which are my favorite entries in the series. And it's good for them for shaking it up so much. And changing it and then finding a new audience. And 5 and 6 are still there. You can just go play those. But so it's not like a disappointment, but to only play 4 games of something and be done with it in this series feels very
well, the thing to remember about the Civ games, especially 5 and 6, is that they're not really finished until they have a couple of expansions.
That's true.
And I, in fact, wasn't even going to buy it until you said you wanted to talk about it on the show, because I was just going to wait for an expansion to come out and fix the
Which
launch
would have been
problems.
smart. The thing about it is, I played 5 and 6 in their early stages and still got a ton of play out of them. They were broken. A lot of things didn't work as well as their refinements, but I still had fun with them. So I thought it would be the same for this.
Yeah.
The city planning is not interesting to me anymore, and that's a big hit.
Part of it's still fun to be able to pick where you place the stuff, and there still are adjacency bonuses and things. Part of the problem with it, though, is that it's all visually very muddy.
Yes.
One of the great things about 6, as you lay down the districts, is you can tell exactly which one is an entertainment district and which one is a arena or whatever they are called, the libraries, the universities. And in 7, it just kind of turns into this vague field of roofs.
Yep. I think that is part of it. I think part of it is that you can't place them wherever you want. They have to be next to each other, which means that if you want this perfect one over here, you're going to have to either waste 4 districts getting to it or just give up on that one.
Yeah.
And that's a little annoying to me. Another one is that you don't know the bonuses you're going to have for the next civilization because all of your bonuses are going to change. And so because of that, you can't actually plan for what's going to be happening because you'll change and everything will change. And these bonuses are only for one era. And so there's less of a push to do a good job with it because it's like, well, it's all going to vanish.
Yeah. And that's not as big of an issue for me because, like I say, I don't plan them out as tightly. But let's talk about some of the things I really love about 7. I never liked the city-states in 6.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And 7 has basically combined the city-states with the barbarians, which I think is brilliant.
It's a great idea.
And it all works so well.
City-states are much improved.
Plus influence as a resource, driving diplomacy. Diplomacy makes so much more sense to me now.
Borrowing that from Paradox Games, and it was a good idea to do so because it works very well. I will agree with you. Diplomacy is much better now. There are some things I don't like about it. I don't like that your allies will inevitably spy on you. You will inevitably catch them.
And then they will get mad at you.
And then they will get mad at you for catching them. And it's just like, this is one of the places I don't want realism, right? Yes, we probably do spy on the British spy on us. But we don't get mad at each other and then ruin all our things because of that. I mean, obviously there are other things that cause tension between us, but there's some of these diplomatic things that just, I can't make friends with people like I want to. And
it's clear from the way, like if you read how the likes and dislikes are going, that they are trying to represent both nations' attitudes.
Yes.
So like if somebody else befriends an independent that you were also trying to befriend, they get mad at you. And really what's happening is your civilization is mad at them.
Yeah.
But in-game effect, the perception of it is, oh, they're pissed at me now because I was doing the same thing.
Yeah. But it is much improved. It's the best it's been.
Ironically, the Harriet Tubman is... Because all of she has an incredibly good espionage bonus, so she's constantly spying, which means she's getting caught frequently enough that she hates me constantly. Yeah. I'm always at war with Harriet Tubman.
That's very common.
She spies on me and gets mad about it.
I like the trinkets that you can add to change your gameplay a little bit or enhance your gameplay. What do they call them? Talismans or whatever?
I don't like those as much.
Don't you? Okay.
I am disappointed to see 7 have so many things that you need to unlock. And like you can level up the civilization leaders, whatever they're called.
It's kind of fun to me because it encourages me to play different civilizations. But
see, I usually just hit random on everything and play.
I don't because I'm a min-maxer, and so I look for the bonuses that intrigue me. So what I look for is, will this make me play the game in a different way from how I've been playing it before? Because I'm bored of the way I've been playing it before. And so, like, there's a great civilization mod for Civ 6 that is Robespierre. And Robespierre gets, like, unhappiness from all the things that you normally want to do and gets happiness from, like, other areas. You can't, like, get happiness. And so, like, Robespierre, his cities are constantly in revolt and threatening to hang him or guillotine him. And instead, you get these massive bonuses from like great projects that you can do to keep them happy. So lots of wonder bonuses and things like that. And you have to balance happiness in a way you don't have to with anyone else. And this is a modded Civ. It's a lot of fun. It's a little busted because those modded Civs are, but you have to play the game in a different way. That's what I'm looking for with a Civ is, will this make me play the game in a different way? And can my strategic brain be like, I can use all these bonuses to completely outplay the AI?
Mm-hmm. And that's what I assume an expansion is going to come and fix. Yeah. I'm just waiting for the day that some modder comes in and unlocks all the civs for me.
Oh, that'll
be the first mod available.
I'm sure it's already there. I've already got 3 or 4 mods on mine. I
haven't even looked yet. I wanted to play the base game.
I don't think I have that one, but I added on the UI mods almost instantly because the UI is so terrible. And I'm not sure. I didn't get in any gameplay mods yet, but again, there's probably a ton of them by now. But
yeah, it with playing 3 different civilizations over the course of the game. First of all, they're disconnected from each other almost every time, and your leader is now disconnected from the civilization.
Yep.
And so it breaks a lot of the historicity of it. Sometimes you'll get you play the Spanish Empire and then you play Mexico, and okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
And then other times you will play the Mississippians, and then you'll get the Normans. And if you're going to have those limited chains, they should have a purpose. And since they clearly don't, you should just let me play any Civ.
Yeah, that's a good point.
In an order. Yeah.
Well, we will be back in a year after they have an expansion, and I will try it again, and hopefully I will fall in love with it like I did 5 and 6. Well,
I do need to say before we end that I actually do really enjoy the game. There's a lot of things we've been down on. There's definitely a lot of things to be improved, but it hooks me, and I play through it.
I would say right now don't buy it because the UI problems and the bugs are they're a serious problem for me. Like city-states just randomly vanish sometimes, and but if all of that stuff were fixed and this is the game for me, it'd still be like a 5 out of 10, following a 10 out of 10. Maybe they will be able to get it up for me, but right now, I won't play another game of it till there's an expansion. And it's not that I think it's wrong, right? It's like I'm having the same reaction to this that you had to Endless Legend, which I really liked. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And maybe it will.
Yeah. Someday. Cool. How's that, Ben?